Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Cornbread Trucker here, coming to you from my 01 up here in the northern part of New York. There goes an eagle. But anyways, just sitting here waiting to get loaded. They're actually started on it, but I had a driver's meeting today, and you know, they touched on the personal conveyance again. And actually, I actually liked what I heard today. I have, you know, I don't use personal conveyance a lot. It really wasn't going to affect me, you know, but it was a change, you know, where I wasn't looking forward to maybe calling, and you know, we were kind of getting the feedback that the fleets that was you know, in the test on this, when they were making their calls as far as in-house, it wasn't a lot of calls, which really makes sense. And then, but you know, I was like, I didn't want to be on a call for 45 minutes. So far, you know, calling logs doesn't sound like that's an issue. The only issue that I'm really hearing as far as feedback is that the time it takes to get it turned on. And then I guess there are other issues. Once you're done and you make your move, you know, giving them a call or shooting an email, a message over the system letting them know that you're done parked and they can shut it off. But generally it wasn't really too bad of from what they were saying today. They've added, you know, the 3 more fleets, and you know, call volume really hasn't picked up all that much. You know, they talked about, they had a driver come up and give his perspective of it, you know, and he did mention, you know, about the fact of having to wait 10 or 15 minutes for it to get turned on. Now, he did state that so far he hasn't had that long of a wait, but he still was kind of adamant about the fact that they penalize those that are abusing it and not penalize everybody else. Now, this is where I find that Prime's got a good argument, and I kind of thought that that was probably the case. So their issue is not the people that habitually abuse it, because they get it turned off for a period of time. And the reality, they said, was when they do that, generally once that comes back, those drivers pretty well have figured it out and really don't continue to be habitual. If they are, that they're not going to have a job. Now, what the issue is drivers that don't use it all the time, that are still, when they do choose to use it, they're using it in a manner in which when they've gotten pulled in for inspection, and they're going, DOT's going over the logs, and they're going, hey, this is improper use. And so it affects the score. Not only, you know, it's not only on that driver, it's on the company, because most of us have run with Prime's DOT number. So that ends up affecting not just the driver, the company itself, the entity, but all of us, because as that score rises, we're getting pulled into for inspection more often, and makes complete sense. And so I had kind of figured, you know, that it was either we do this, even though I didn't agree with it. Prime had decided we were either going to do this or it was going to go away, and they have not came out until he said that. But I still think that if this becomes a great big stink, which I don't foresee it being that, they'll just do away with it versus that score going up. They are trying to make sure that they keep their score down for several reasons, and trying to also help, you know, I think they're more concerned about they'll say that they're giving us an added layer of protection. I mean, they're looking after their business, and in the process of looking after their business, they're giving us an added layer of protection. you know, from some of the feedback I'm getting so far, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I honestly didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal for me, except for the fact that I didn't want to be sitting waiting for something to get turned on or to make that phone call. And they were assessing, you know, okay, how busy are we going to be with this? Are we going to need the staff differently in order to handle the phone calls? So that, you know, kind of, as far as I'm concerned, kind of, it's a good answer from the company, and I'm happy with that. I was going to live with it either way. Other things they had talked about. Now let me, you know, I probably should just make notes. You know, they talked about alloy lock again, about somebody had reached out to the manufacturer of alloy locks, because they get, you know, this time of year they get a lot of grime and stuff in the lock and they stick. So they were talking about using a graphite lubricant, and they're gonna get with the prime store and see if maybe they can order it and get the product in so we could pick it up there. But there's different graphite lubricants that you can pick up, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, things of that nature. So I used to use graphite quite a bit. Several years ago I did maintenance for student housing and military housing, and you know, everybody was using quick set locks, and they're not great locks, but you know, the tumblers would get stuck and so forth, or your key, it just get hard to work. And so a lot of times I can, you know, shoot some graphite powder into it and then work it for a little bit, and that graphite powder would work in and get those tumblers sliding, you know, moving properly. And so, you know, makes perfect sense on that. Let's see, you know, they talked, you know, there was quite a bit of talk there about the CSA scores, and making those better numbers. I didn't hear quite what all sales had to say, but it sounded like that they felt like they were in a good position with even some new customers that they have picked up. Again, I didn't get all the scope on that, but it sounded like they felt positive about things. And I don't know, the last couple of meetings, you know, it sounded like things are tough, and now it sounded like the tables are turned as far as what's coming up. So that's good news. There was one other item that kind of crossed my mind just a minute ago. See, we talked about the locks, talk about loads, personal conveyance. Well, it's whatever it was, it slipped my mind. So, but all in all, I think it was a pretty decent driver meeting. So we'll see what they have next week. But now we are getting ready to switch over to DriveWise. I had some anxieties about that. To be quite honest, I have a system that works that I like, and usually once I'm into a system, I'm pretty anal about things, and I'll stick to those. And generally the computer from this Omnitrax, that voice, that computer voice, I can't stand it, and I always turn my volume way down. And I guess to kind of get used to it, I've turned the volume up a little bit so that I can hear it if a message is sent, or like you heard just a little bit ago, I think it was in this video, about what kind of drive time I had left today. But So I guess I'm just preparing for it. I'm still going to use my navigation system. I have a road atlas. I'm big on road atlases, that every driver needs to have a road atlas. That's how I used to drive. I'm not going to lie, I do use my GPS quite a bit. I go to Google and look at my shippers and receivers. You know, I've got a few steps that I take to kind of make sure I'm going to the right place and that the address is correct, zip code's correct, so on and so forth. My navigation system I use, my GPS, it's meant more for trucks. So, you know, has weight restrictions for bridges, no truck routes, so on and so forth. So it gives low bridges. It gives me a lot of information. It works really well, but it's not a perfect system. So you definitely want to, you know, having that map or looking at another system, as you know, I highly recommend it. But I don't use the navigation that's on the OmniTrax as it is now. I don't know if that navigation is going to pop up anyways. I heard some things about DriveWise that something kind of obstructs your view. I don't remember what it was. The decision's been made on that, so I'm just preparing for it and going to move forward. I will hold, you know, like I said, I have some anxieties about some changes, but we'll work past that, and then, you know, I'll make a decision whether I like it or not. But I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to force me to go, well, I'm not going to drive for Prime anymore. I like it here. I like the culture here. I honestly like the trucks being governed. I know how I drive, and if the trucks wasn't governed, I'd probably have a lot of speeding tickets and wouldn't be driving. So it actually helps me, because I like to get where I'm going. I don't like to mess around. I don't play around in between. I will get to my 90 just as quick as I can. And if I got to hold up a little bit to make delivery, that's fine, as long as I'm there or within a reasonable range of being there. I don't like to wait here and then just leave myself just enough time to get there. So, and that's on my day-to-day drive. I try to get as far as I can with, you know, as fast as I can. It's just it's the way I always drove. It's, be honest, I mean, my dad didn't fool around either. I think it's just kind of the nature. My brother is the same way. He doesn't play around. He gets to where he needs to go. If there's going to be some shutdown time, it's going to be at that end. So every once in a while, I'll make a stop in between. That being said, so I'm just kind of preparing myself for that new system, and I'm going to be going back to Springfield, not really by choice. There was some ComData fraud. Somebody somewhere, apparently a card reader, probably one of the fuel pumps, scanned the number, so they tried using it, and I don't have no money on. I don't like ComData, and I don't use it for my banking system in any way, shape, or form. The only reason I have it is fuel and to pay a lumper, and that I don't care for it. And so right now I'm having to use a different, I'm still using the card, but I have to go through a different process, and I don't want to elaborate too much on that. If you've ever had it happen, you probably know what I'm talking about. So which works, you know, pretty good. A little hiccups, you know, you got to take a couple extra steps, but they're gonna route me through, and I can pick up a new fuel card. So I really didn't want to go back to Springfield, but we'll see how it goes. We'll be heading back home here pretty soon. Got a couple of doctor's appointments, and so I'm gonna go do that and then get back out. So all right, everybody, hope you're having a good one. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you later on.